Hi, everybody. It's Lainey. I'm back from Australia. Good day, I should say.
Good day, Nate.
This is Laura Shofroth, an amazing human being. I've known her for a while now. She's taken our certification program. She's one of those few that got my attention from the very beginning about how passionate she is about food and food healing and realizing how much we all agree that food is medicine. But she is a herbalist, an author of an amazing book, and a health consultant. And I'm just so glad she's here as the first show back from my travels. And this topic tonight is all about universal foods that, whether it's Australia or here or anywhere, uh, make a big difference in our healing capacity. So, Laura, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. First of all, I love having time with you, but also letting the viewers get our perception of what we do and how we think about food is awesome.
Well, and yes, agreed. And we were just saying off air how uh, some people kind of gloss over the food and have maybe lost the passion in how wonderful food is and how Mother Nature's provided all the answers to everything. If we just look right under our nose and look closer. And some people, I think, are just getting lost in the busyness of life. So, but we're saying, but not us. We're like
Yeah.
insanely passionate all the way to the end.
Yeah. I can't stop. My focus is always around food, no matter what else is going on. It's always like, oh, what am I going to have for lunch today that is going to feed my body? So I might be a nerd. I don't know.
I doubt that. Do you want to give people just a little bit of a background of how you became a nerd for food?
Yeah, sure. I'll give the shortest summary possible. Over 20 years ago, I found myself as a very young mom with an incurable disease. It took them a while to diagnose it. I had syndrome X, which was pre-diabetes. I had gut issues. I had all this stuff going on. And when they finally did diagnose me, it was with endometriosis. They said, there's no cure. You're going to have to live with this the rest of your life. And we're going to have to do radical surgery. And then you're going to have to go on hormones the rest of your life. And I was like, I didn't want to do that. I'm like 33 years old. And I said, can you leave an ovary? And they said, no. And I was like, okay, so that's going to throw me into craziness with hormonal issues. I just knew it. And something inside me just took a step back. It was compounded by the fact when they did diagnostic surgery, they cut me inside and I bled internally for a week. They thought it was a terrible tumor, so I had to have a drain put in. So by then I was like, you know what, there's got to be a cure. And so I hit, Google 20 plus years ago, had a lot more information available. And I hit Google and I'm looking, I initially found nothing, absolutely nothing. And I eventually found a lady in England who said that she healed herself. So I ordered her book and her cookbook. And she said some really interesting things. She talked about how riding her horse helped her de-stress and helped create a vibration inside of her, kind of like jumping on a trampoline, kind of like in traditional Chinese medicine, we're adding some oxygenation into our body. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this myself. And no holds barred. I started doing research then, and I haven't stopped to this day. I live in a world of incurables, continuing the research and helping for my clients with anything from acid reflux to stage 4 cancer, and connecting the dots between real food. Where did it all go wrong? The root cause is deficiency or toxicity or both. And if we're looking at deficiencies, we're looking at our diet, right? If we're looking at toxicities, we're looking at our elimination systems and why aren't we getting rid of the toxicities in such a fashion that our body can stay healthy. So really food and thoughts have everything to do with our health. And so I stay here. I stay in this world of food is medicine.
Can I just say how excited I am that you have taken our certification class? Because and by the way, I see Denise is here. She's another one of the absolute people who I know are passionate about health. I mean, she's the essential oil goddess, but she also is very active in our food healing Oracle deck world. But for someone like you who knows it from a physical and a science based, and then you come into this world, and then we're like kind of blowing the lid off like all this woo-woo spiritual stuff, but it works and it makes sense. Was that a completely like eye-opening experience for you? Or I mean, we have our certification, our first live one actually in 2 years of doing this. This is our first live one with people like in person. That's how long it's taken. It's all been online. Hello, beautiful Laura. I think that must be Joanna.
Hi, Joanna.
So what was it like for you to incorporate this extra, like, to feel called to take in the spiritual aspect to it, to even see that there is a spiritual aspect to
it? Was interesting because I had spent some time learning traditional Chinese medicine, and if you study like macrobiotics and the traditional Eastern societies and how they look at food, even from India, not just in the Orient, food is very revered. It's worshipped. It's blessed. In America, we just eat. We barely chew our food. So, and it's one of the things
in front of the television.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like eating kind of not consciously. So that was one aspect. And then learning, and the only background I really had was the traditional Chinese medicine, and then understanding that live foods bring us vitality, which help raise our vibration. And I do talk about quantum physics a lot.
Yes.
So here the interesting thing was the actual spirituality behind the food that was given to you and Joanna, and reading about it, taking the course. What was super interesting for me, like the big takeaway, was the application in the certification course, where you were like, okay, everybody, I want you to do some readings for other people. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. and then I did it. I just read for a couple of the ladies, and it all just came out so beautifully, and it made so much sense.
Are there any standout experiences from any of your readings that made you go, wow, you can't make this up?
I think I remember when you traveled up here, and there was a couple, but I think the one that stood out the most was one of the members in my chapter of the HCC. Right after you and Joanna spoke at our meeting, chapter meeting, I did a reading for a young lady named Carla, and she was like on the cusp of transformation in her life with her business and trying new things. And I think I pulled 3 or 4 cards for her she's like, that spoke to me so much. She's like, I don't know how you knew that, but that's telling me to go. And then she went and she expanded her business from then. And later on, she stood up and spoke at a meeting, and she said, this chapter has done so much for me. It caused me to get out of my comfort zone and start doing all this other stuff. So it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Sweet potatoes. She needs to eat some comfort.
Yeah.
I did a reading on a couple today who had never even heard of tarot or oracle, didn't know anything about this world at all, but they're total foodies. And so I was showing them the deck, and I gave a little 1-card reading to both of them, each of them. And they were like, they were just so taken back, and they were all excited to actually go eat that food, because I was sharing about how to intentionalize and how we have the power to envision. Our words are so important and so powerful.
They are.
They do connect. That's why the deck is so important, to understand the food and the words together. And so I'm excited that we'll talk about some of our favorite foods and foods I saw down under today. But yeah, I'm so glad you take the course, and you're going to be getting, finishing the certification here soon. Which
yes.
So let's talk about, before we get into our universal foods that heal, our other, I think, I don't know, for me, I don't know if it's an obsession or it's just the extreme passion of juicing and blending and smoothies and living vitality through one beautiful cup of wellness. Have you always been like obsessed
So
like
it's
this too?
interesting. It's interesting. I missed the whole Jack LaLanne thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, do you remember Jack?" I don't
Oh,
really
Jack
remember.
LaLanne. Oh
Yeah,
yes,
Jack
I
LaLanne.
remember
Yeah,
him.
I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
remember him. Before I got sick, I had a neighbor from Germany, and she had a beautiful physique. I would like idolize her, and I'd go over to her house, and she'd like, in her German accent, "Laura, let's have a green juice," and I'd be like, "Okay, whatever you say. You're so beautiful," and her and myself and another neighbor would just dabble in the juicing. And I was like, that's pretty cool, but I also was trying a lot of other different things. So I was dabbling in the juicing, and then I got sick. And after I got sick and decided, no, I'm going to heal myself, and I put into practice a lot of different modalities, one thing didn't change. In all of these years, 20 plus years, one thing has not changed. I have continued to juice
All
all of
this time.
these years, because the reality is I still eat a piece of pizza. I might still have I don't know how you ate in Australia, but I saw some pastries over on that end of the world.
Well, I should say like this, but on a nutrition scale, probably not the best I could have. Now I'm back
So,
on it. Like I did not have a smoothie for a month. Now
well,
I
that's
was
it.
desperate for them when I got back.
And we do that. And I feel like that's where juicing and smoothies will buy you the chips back, because it's like, oh, last night I probably didn't eat that well, but I have some chips to cash in. Tomorrow I'm going to have a juice and then a smoothie and bring that vitality. Like every time I think of a juice and a smoothie, it is alive foods that are alive coming into my body. It's
Yeah.
not dead food.
Yeah, no, I have to say that what's interesting is that Australia is so alive and so vibrant in the weather and the animals and the visuals, like everything is so alive. And it remind me a lot of Britain, where there's a lot of pastry, a lot of flaky, crusty pies that were
Mm.
just, everything was so savory and delicious. And I think there was some consciousness there. There's a lot of Asian influence there.
Yeah,
Nepal, Indian, Chinese, Japanese. And maybe because I was on holiday that I played a little bit more than I should, but there were definitely smoothie places there. It's just,
sure.
I wasn't in the mode of like, and I should have been, but no, I wanted to sample the local fare. But
I
when I
would
got back,
too.
all I did the whole time on the plane, I was like, I already had in my mind, just to get through this jet lag and every other day, what detox. I mean, I already had my menu this whole week of what smoothies I'd be having.
Yeah, but if I was down there, I would do the same thing. I'm like, and especially I love ethnic food. So the more
Yeah,
ethnic it is, I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to.
yeah, exactly. Well, we had this discussion, and I brought it up a lot, and we were talking about it just before we got on. Some people don't know the difference between juicing and blending or smoothies, and there is a very big difference. And I'm more of a proponent of smoothies, and you're probably more a proponent of juicing. But let's just talk about that and what you see in your practice, and then I'll share a little bit of my thoughts. But I think it would be good for people to know they all have merit. I'm not saying no to one, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you're saying that either. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying in general. But maybe I'll let you take the floor with that, and we can go from
Okay.
there.
I'm going to take the floor with that.
Do it.
Most people know me as a juicer, and
Mhm.
juicing as something that I do promote a lot. And with my clients in my intro program, it's like the second session. And the reason I'm a huge proponent of juicing is because while it does extract the pulp, it's very easily digestible.
Mhm.
It's absolutely assimilated immediately without your body. It gives your body a break. Your body doesn't have to work to digest it, because it's like water. You're drinking the chlorophyll and all of these nutrients. And the reason that's my very first go-to is if my client is sick or has gut issues and fiber could be a problem, juicing is for everybody. It's just down the road. It's everybody can use it unless they have a specific sensitivity to like a leaf lettuce or something. Having said that, I also do smoothies. I'm just not as vocal about it. The reason smoothies, there's a couple different things about smoothies. One, yes, it has the pulp in it, which we need that fiber. And in Western society, we don't get enough of the fiber. So it's super duper important.
So it's the whole food in case. So it's like putting everything into the blender and turning it on, and there's nothing extracted.
Blending it.
You're getting everything that you chop and put in, just so people are clear on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference. Juice extracts the pulp. Blending smoothies keeps the pulp in. You just blend it all together like in a NutriBullet. So the thing about smoothies, while I'm not as loud about it, is this. Traditionally, people think of smoothies and it's a banana, a little bit of spinach, blueberries, strawberries, pineapple, and before it's all said in, and then some green powder that they bought that they said it's full of protein. And before it's done, they've got this high sugary smoothie thing with this store-bought green powder, and there's probably soy or I don't even know what's in these things.
And glycemic levels out of control.
Yeah, their sugar's busted out, and their pancreas is like, I gotta catch up all day to all that sugar. So I'm very wary to talk about smoothies, especially with new clients that are going to start juicing or doing smoothies, because if I say, yeah, let's do a smoothie, I want it to be just about 100% vegetables.
Yeah.
I don't want to work your pancreas that hard, especially if you're sick.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that's good food for thought for people who are watching this, that they're both, like you said, have merit, and there's certain things that you can do with both. I mean, we created our smoothie book, and actually this Sunday is our first, we call it the Intentional Smoothie Symposium.
Yay!
And I wish you were here. You would love this class. It's going to be an all-day experience of really working with the frequencies of the food from the deck, and working to make recipes and doing readings and tuning in. And it's just going to be a whole day experiencing of how food truly is medicine. And you're right, a lot of fruit is used, but as we show in our book, that we do hot smoothies, cold smoothies, and then, so everything's very intentionalized too. If you're needing something with digestion, if you're needing something even for grief, we have a smoothie if you're dealing with grief on how to let things go. So that's where you kind of bring in, yes, that book right there.
Oh, which way do I go? Yeah, that book.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
And then Lainey and Joanna's book.
Yeah. So we're excited about the smoothie class. And then, of course, however you go about it, what machine you use makes such a big difference. There's so many out there. And I don't know if do you ever use the avocado seed in your
I keep meaning to. I do. I don't have a high. I have a
3 horsepower. It has to be 3 horsepower.
It has to be a 3 horsepower to do it. I get close. I get so close to doing it, but and I kept some avocado seeds in my refrigerator and I forgot about them. So there's that. But it's something I do want a high-powered blender. That'd be my next expenditure when I start adding, so that I can get the more of the phytonutrients, like the omega-3s from the avocado seed. I know I'm missing out. So.
Well, there's like 150 phytochemicals. It's like a vault. It's a gold mine. One trick to help with, and I don't want to say that, but typically we say 3 horsepower. But what I have heard is that some people dry out the seed, so then it really pulverizes into dust pretty quickly.
That's what I wanted to do. That's why, but I forgot about it. So
yeah. But I mean, the idea of having so much nutrition in a seed that 99.9% of the people throw away is just like the things people don't know. I get excited about wanting them to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about some of these foods that I saw that were heavily in my diet along the way, and some of them that won't. One of the things I have to admit, not that I don't, I was very surprised, and this wasn't on your list, but so here's kiwi, or maybe it was on your list. So I'm walking through this market. There was a little tiny market right where I had an apartment there, and I'd walk down each day and get my food. And all the fruits and the vegetables all listed where they're from. They would just say New Zealand or Australia. And I saw an entire, like, whole wall of kiwi. And
Mm-hmm.
you ready for this? It said from the USA.
Are you kidding?
And I was like, I was like, because I'm all about local. I'm all
Yeah,
about
me
eat
too.
exactly from where you can. It's the best for your system.
It is.
I go back to the whole Anastasia. Do you know about the Anastasia books? Did I ever talk about that? I know
Mm-mm.
I've talked about it on the show here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's there are these Russian books, and she was like a Russian nature spirit, and she taught in these books. It was like either I think it was a trilogy that that spirit wanted us to spit on our seeds when we're growing our own fruits and vegetables in our own gardens, and it would receive the DNA of our
I did read
energy.
about that. I did.
Yeah. So like,
That's
because they're saying
interesting.
like we have to be that's as local as you get, where the food's growing according to your energetic field.
Yeah,
But you want to eat where you are. But when I saw this and it said USA, I didn't even know what to say. It was the craziest thing. Like,
it
don't you
is
always eat from
crazy.
where you're as local as you can
Well,
get?
yeah, it's so far away to ship some limes that are relatively, yeah, that's a little crazy. I don't know.
But they did have several other things, particularly mangoes, which I'm a huge fan of.
Me
So
too.
mangoes is huge down under, as they are right here. I live on a mango farm.
Ay, ay,
Mango
ay.
tree farm. Yeah,
I need to
you would
come
love it.
down
Yeah,
there.
there's mangoes everywhere.
I need to be there. I love mango.
Yeah. Well, do you use mangoes a lot in your consulting for any particular, like health benefits? I know there's a lot of sugar, but they're just so good for you
Well, and I'm
energetically.
not against fruit. Like we know, you and I probably know that even type 2 diabetics can find great health benefits from fruit, despite
Yeah.
what conventional medicine says. They say don't eat
Yes.
fruit. Yes, you do eat fruit. You try to, if it's a seed, it's a skin that you can eat, then it's going to help you metabolize the sugar. It's a whole different thing. So with my clients, what I teach mainly, and I don't know if you even know this, is I teach non-restrictive eating. In other words, everything goes because we're human beings. And if we're traveling human beings within a certain mile radius, if we were back in the day, we ate whatever we could. And I mean, whatever we could within a certain mile radius or as we were traveling. The standard American diet is extremely restrictive.
Yeah.
So, we eat the same thing: spaghetti, meatloaf, pizza, mangoes, kiwis, limes, all of these, especially citrus fruits, especially for those of us down south, we're supposed to, as you were just saying, eat the foods that grow indigenously to where we are. So as far as what I teach and, mangoes in what I teach, I'm like, eat the mangoes, eat the fruit, eat whatever grows near you.
Eat from the land. You
Yeah,
know what
eat
they
from
did
the
have there that I haven't seen here that I was just delighted. I don't know if you saw one of my videos at the farmers market where the woman from her fruit farm had made
I
all
didn't
these
see it.
fruit leathers.
Oh,
And
I did hear you talking about
she
it.
had hundreds and hundreds of them, but one of the most delicious ones, and I think I ate this just about everywhere I could find it, was black currant.
Oh my gosh.
That was there in quince. And
Quince.
yeah, and have you had quince? It's like a very tart kind of,
If
almost like
I
mulberry, very tart berry-ish.
I feel like I've had it years ago somehow, some way. I don't remember, but it sounds like somebody said, yeah, that's quince fruit.
Yes. And not that it's in our little repertoire today, but Joanna knows I'm slightly obsessed with durian.
I
And
know.
oh my God, just I was in delightful durian heaven there. And you could smell it. Like I had bags of it. My daughter's like, okay, I think you're kind of going overboard. I'm like, do you know what this would cost in the States? I
Right.
mean, durian's so expensive because you
Yeah.
gotta, and when you're down so far, everything has to be unless it's local, I mean, they're kind of far removed from everyone and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
The cost of food there is expensive. So
Oh gosh.
people, we say here in the US how expensive food is, and it has gone up, there's no question. But if we can get back to the basics, I think that's what we're circling back here and saying. Grow your own food,
Mm-hmm.
look for the local things, go to the
Mm-hmm.
local farmers market. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't bypass the gifts that we've been given right
Oh
here.
gosh. Absolutely. Like, what is the difference if you had oranges in a can, those little oranges they put in salads? What do you call
Yeah,
those
the
little
mandarins. Yeah.
mandarin oranges? What is the difference between that and something that you can pick that grew, within the last a month or something, where you live? I mean, if you've ever eaten a tomato ripe off the vine, my gosh, it's nothing like store bought.
Nothing.
Um,
No,
and
nothing is.
and a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do it? Well, no matter where you live, I don't care if you live in Minnesota, like my friend Kelly, if you can find co-ops, if you can find farms, if you can grow some yourself on your windowsill, that's going to be the way. You can even get heirloom seeds, which have not been messed with. There's ways to get this living vitality to your body. Your body needs it. Needs it.
Yes. And I'm generally a non-dairy person in general. But
Mm-hmm.
then I was the guest when one of my hosts, took me to a cheese farm
Oh yeah.
factory. And when you see everything aged and cured and like right there and there, the samples of that, I mean, there's nothing like it. And there were all sorts of cheeses I had never heard before. I think they were a little
Yeah.
rare.
But
Yeah, I had to indulge
they
on
probably had goat cheese, right? And was the cheese alive? Was it homogenized and pasteurized, or was it raw?
raw,
So
right?
there you can. So my big thing is, if you can buy raw cheese, you're going to digest it. Most everybody's allergic to dairy. They just don't know it. But if
Yeah.
you can get raw cheese, you can eat that and be able to digest it a lot easier.
So I mean, not that I know we talk about, let's just talk about that for a second, even though we mostly stick with fruits and vegetables. But there is something to be said, because when people go and wonder why they go through like Trader Joe's or they go to a store and they see raw cheese, and they probably think, oh my God, that must be terrible and not safe for me because it hasn't been protected by pasteurized, not realizing when things get pasteurized is we're losing the
All the
integrity, just
health.
like if someone microwaved.
Exactly. There's such amazing health benefits to raw milk. Like, I'm a non-dairy. I teach no dairy because conventional dairy, as you know, it's one of the evil sins.
Yeah.
But raw milk, that's a whole nother world. And I used to have a goat co-op. I owned part of a goat, so we could have the raw goat milk
Oh,
as
wow.
my
I
son's.
raised my kids on goat milk. They
There
never
you
had
go.
cow's milk.
Yeah, my children had raw goat milk, and then I would take that raw goat milk, one of the gallons, and make it into kefir. So we had 1 gallon of raw kefir. So you could, to this day, go to Whole Foods and some mom and pop stores and buy raw cheese. And you can say, okay, I'm going to have cheese and crackers, my charcuterie board or something, and not feel as bad with those live enzymes helping you to digest it. And it tastes the same. You wouldn't even know. You would not know the difference between raw cheese, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I really love that. So yes, I had that and I really loved it. But so speaking of enzymes, let's get into a little bit about pineapple. So
Yes.
pineapple is all about the enzymes, and that's our
Yes.
expansion card. Lots of pineapple I ate there. In fact, I think that's what my saving grace was, because I was so naughty, that I at least I can break things up in my mind. I'm expanding my health
Yeah,
through
exactly.
all the bromelain.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you anything else you want to add about pineapple, and
I can
why we
say,
consider it a universal healing food?
I got to tell you, when I was doing my research and when I was healing myself, one of the things that I came along. Okay, so I had endometriosis, which means the fibers from your uterus grow outside your uterus. So my left ovary was fused to my bowel. So I could not sit up straight. I could not walk straight. After surgery, I walked with a cane. Just the pain was that bad 30 days out of the month. So during my research, I'm like, oh, what eats fibers? Bromelain. People
Whoa.
use bromelain to tenderize meat, steak. They
Yes.
use that pineapple. And I was like, so I became like this bromelain queen. I ate tons of raw. I mean, I needed to have pineapple, not from a can, because I was scared the bromelain would not be alive anymore. So just the real live pineapple, and we, cut the skin off, and then I would juice the core and eat the pineapple. But then I also bought bromelain supplements too. I know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good.
powerful
Super powerful. That and papaya. Papaya was
papaya.
big down there too. And that's, you have to think pineapple, bromelain, papaya, papain, like
Yes.
same great enzymes for our body.
Enzymes. Yep.
Uh, and by the way, if anyone has questions, please, for myself or for Laura, please ask away while we're here.
Yeah. Ask why we're
Okay.
here.
So my number one food that I ate every day, uh, loved it to no end, couldn't get enough of it, found it fascinatingly delightful.
Chocolate. I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
Oh my
Because
God.
I'd be
I
the
don't know
same way.
why.
Because chocolate's different overseas. It's not like Hershey's Kisses here. It's not the same thing. My
Yeah.
mom's French, and so when I'd go overseas,
Indulgence. That was me for 3 weeks.
a super spiritual food. We eat chocolate and it takes the place. It doesn't take the place, but it means love to us. It means self-care, self-love, nurturing. So we should never feel guilty about eating chocolate, because, and it's like I teach my clients, you can't fall off the wagon with clean eating. You just eat clean. And if you decide to eat chocolate, you eat chocolate. But guess what? You enjoy it. You love it. You just, like you did, you just like loved it.
Yeah, I don't think I felt guilty. I felt like I'm
Mm-mm.
so giving myself permission to enjoy and indulge in this experience. And each place I went to had a different take on it, but they revered the chocolate as someone like me who reveres the chocolate and honors and indulges in it. And I felt great. And plus, chocolate is one of the best foods for you. I know people think no because they think sugar and milk chocolate, but when we're talking about cacao and we're talking about dark chocolate, we're talking about there's so many benefits health wise
Mm-hmm.
for our mind. I mean, all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of body health, physical
Mm-hmm.
health, but
Absolutely.
I felt like it was doing me just a great service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty when I eat chocolate. I just don't want icky chocolate. Like I want really good chocolate when I eat
Yeah.
it, which is
Yeah.
hard to find, but
If I literally brought home a suitcase back because my husband also likes chocolate. So I mean, I bought
nice.
back bars, but at that point, I was kind of like, "All right, I know what I've done. These are all for you." But Australia is so much like UK. The Britain, and they're big chocolatiers over there too. So I felt like I was kind of experiencing like the
Mm,
same thing but just even the desserts, everything about it. But I just loved it. Chocolate covered fruits, like it was like the best of all the worlds. Like chocolate covered kiwi, chocolate covered strips of pineapple, everything like that. I hope I'm making everybody hungry. Deborah Massey saying, "What about?" And I can't read what that is. Oh, if that's coffee, that was the other thing. See, coffee's in our deck, energy. It was probably the best coffee I've ever had anywhere.
really?
You couldn't get a bad cup of coffee, and people drink coffee there all day
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see the chat on YouTube. We can see them. I see Paisley. She wants to know, or she, Paisley, did they eat whenever too? Meaning when they come across it. I'm not sure what that means. We'll have to get that. Yes, we can see. I don't know why, but chocolate's huge there. And are you a coffee person or not a coffee person?
I'm French. I have to have coffee. Like it's Deborah Massey and I had this conversation.
Throughout the day? Are you a coffee throughout the day?
No,
'Cause that's very European, like,
yeah,
like 4 or
I
5
have
times a
been
day.
known to, but I might switch off and do like a matcha green tea or something. I try to switch it up. I do love my coffee. Like there's been times I've gone off it for a few years and then I find myself going back because the taste is so delicious. But
Yeah.
it's so good overseas. They drink strong coffee. Was it strong in Australia?
Super strong. And
Oh,
I lived in Sweden, so that
hmm
is like strongest.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just great. Like when people were making plans, we're like, okay, well, let's go out for coffee, then we'll get some lunch. That's
Hmm
what they would say. And
Yeah.
then we'd go out for, before we were planning, the next activity, we would do the activity and then we'd stop and have a coffee. Like literally it was throughout the day. It was coffee interludes. And
Yeah.
I've gotten now, I'm already back and I'm still doing that. Like I'm accustomed to
I
just kind of having it throughout the day.
I would say though, I guess I'm speculating that when you would have these cups of coffee when you were out, they probably did like a French press. Like it was made right. It was probably ground right then and there
Yep.
freshly.
Yep. Yeah, and I know it's not the best, but I prefer decaf. I just still am sensitive, even though I can eat as much chocolate and I have caffeine sensitivities. But but everyone was like, you should really have this robust coffee. I mean, a few times I did, but it was strong.
Yeah, it's
Like,
so strong overseas. Yeah, yeah. When I was in France, it's the same thing. It's like drink coffee all day long. It could be 9 o'clock at night, and I started drinking coffee. Y'all don't tell nobody. I think I was 5.
5 years old.
I probably have adrenal fatigue, but yeah, I mean, we had a nanny, and she'd like, oh, my dad was in Thailand, my mom was doing whatever, and she would give us cafe au lait and peanut butter sandwiches, and that's
Are you a military family? Okay. Like as soon as you started to say, I'm like, I bet she
yeah,
moved around a lot.
army brat, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was in Washington D.C. Mrs. Murphy was her name, and I swear I was 5 years old, and I was drinking cafe au lait. So it's hard for me. It's not that I can't separate it. I've done it. I just love it. But I will say I do drink organic coffee. I do try to buy the quality coffees.
Of course. I have to even say there were a couple times the people there had given me some instant coffee, and even that was good. So I did bring back some fair trade organic coffee from
Oh
Australia
wow,
too.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it's funny. Like I left to Australia with an entire suitcase full of foods that my daughter can't get there.
Yeah.
So I just literally emptied half the suitcase and then replenished it with everything
Filled it
I
right
brought
back.
back. But you know what? You'll appreciate this. What I filled up the most with? Manuka honey.
Did you? Oh, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So for those of
Oh.
you who don't know, or if you or you've heard of Manuka honey is basically grown from the Manuka trees down in New Zealand and Australia. And Manuka is generally like you can get medicinal grade, but
Oh.
it is so effective against even like MRSA and bacteria and
Mhm.
wounds, and you can
Mhm.
put it on things. It is so good that just to get my body balanced, and I have done just a little probiotics. So I've been doing a little and yoga,
And
but
yoga.
yogurt and manuka honey and goji berries. I've kind of got addicted to that's been
Love.
my little meal. But I know that all of that is working. But see, people like us, as soon as even we know we've dipped bad, we dip right back into like all the ways to fortify with all the right things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like eat the chocolate and then go have the goji berries and manuka and yogurt. And the
Are
raw
you a
cheese.
Manuka honey person? Because I know it's so
Uh,
expensive.
it's so expensive, but yeah, it's so good for you. I knew a gentleman and he was a priest, and I saw him at Walter Reed Hospital. I think it was Walter Reed or one of those hospitals. And he had a sore on his leg, and he was in the hospital, stayed there a long time. They could not heal the leg, and they used honey on it to heal it. It was pretty amazing. And I
Yeah.
burnt myself in my kitchen. Deborah Massey might remember this. I burned myself months and months ago on my kitchen stove, I think it was, or a pot, and I smeared it with just regular raw organic honey. It wasn't even manuka. It was just raw honey, smeared my hand and left it just thick. No blisters, no red mark, absolutely nothing, no pain that night. You
Yeah.
want to talk about miraculous? Like
It's
that's
miraculous.
miraculous.
Yeah. I mean, eczema, psoriasis, skin
Mhm.
issues, but really, I mean, I always say how miraculous coconut is. Like, I'm just a proponent of
Me
MCT oil,
too.
anything having to do with coconut, uh, because for its antibacterial, antimicrobial,
Hmm.
antiviral, everything.
Antiviral, everything.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I would say that Manuka's kind of up there, like in that realm.
Superfoods. Everything we're talking about today are chocolate's a superfood. Mango,
Ooh,
pineapple,
the goji berries.
goji berries.
They didn't
All
even know what those were. Actually, if you're still here, Denise, I had my bag of wolfberries that I got from Young Living that you had turned me on, because Young Living has a wolfberry drink ninja, I think it's called. Um, and I brought it down, and they had never heard of it down there. Like,
wow.
it was just so fun talking food with people, what
Yeah.
they have, what we have, and all that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, all right. So as we wind down, let's talk a little bit about, what you do and what you offer. People want to spend more time getting to know you and work with you. Maybe people have some ailments, and you
Mhm.
work with people, like you said, from small things to stage 4 things. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just give them a little bit and about what you were saying if you wanted to do an offer tonight.
Yeah, sure. Basically what I do is I do exactly what you and I have just done these last 41 minutes and 5 seconds is I teach people that food is medicine and food can heal our body. We've not been taught all of our lives. It's not our fault if we don't know this, but we've not been taught that our bodies are self-regulating. It is constantly looking for balance. So, I am a holistic health and wellness consultant. So I see clients with everything from acid reflux to stage 4 cancer. I teach them how to eat clean eating. I teach them how to juice. I teach them how to de stress, how to detox, and I work quantum physics along with that. In other words, I help you to understand that your thoughts become things. If you want to heal, then you be healed. We teach you how to think, to anticipate your healing instead of the opposite of I feel like crap, I'm tired, I feel sick, I'm stiff, I'm so stressed out. You are what you say you are. So I have, I don't know, 45 different sessions. But since I've had some great spiritual things happen to me, I definitely work with people specific to them. And I'm an intuitive. So when I talk with somebody, I can feel them and I know things that should be discussed with them. So that just kind of comes out through inspiration, through our discussions and stuff. So I have 100% retention rate on juicers and so many transformations that are just so beautiful. It's
Mm.
I do believe that this is my divine calling. It's absolutely without a shadow of a doubt where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. So I
Amen.
do have today a gift for anybody actually that emails me or gives me their strike that. If you post your email or message me, I will send you my juicing PDF, which is 6 of my favorite. I have 2 juicing books, but this one is my juicing PDF with 6 of my favorite juice recipes. The most loved one is called Calm Your Ass Down. It's guaranteed to keep you calm and de-stressed for that day. They're all simple recipes and that you'll enjoy, and I'm happy to email it to you.
And if they want to contact you, what's the best way to do that?
Through my website, themiracleofyou.info.
Okay, perfect. Well, I am excited about this weekend. So, for those of you who catch this, either this show or this week, there's still time. There's actually one spot left because we like them to be even. You can take our certification, which is Friday and Saturday. Uh, I can't recommend it enough. And I know there are people here watching it and you've taken it. We go so in depth into
Oh,
what we just talked about the last 41 in 5 seconds, but we go deeper. We go into the chakra systems of food. We talk about nature's 5 elements and how food is earth, air, fire, water, spirit. We are earth, air, fire, water, spirit. We go into the psychosocial behaviors of that, how food can affect that. It's just an incredible way. And we look at all 60 cards from the Food Healing Oracle deck. Yeah, thank you. That's it. And that's this weekend. And we don't do a lot of these certifications, and this is our first live one. And it's also virtual. So actually half the class is virtual from all across the country and half are live here in Florida. So if you feel called in any way to learn what we talked about here and why I'm holding up cards, or want to take a dive like no other, you will never look at food the same way again.
Mm-mm.
Contact us immediately because the class starts Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, so that's Friday and Saturday. And then this Sunday is the smoothie symposium. It's our all-day smoothie fest, and we are going to be pulling from the book, writing new recipes, and all sorts of fun things are planned. So that's a one-day event on Sunday, and most people are coming just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But contact us at foodhealingdeck.com, and you can also or foodhealingoracledeck@gmail.com. Foodhealingoracledeck@gmail.com. Time is short, but we'd love to have you join us and be one of our, our communities are the cherries, right? Cherry is our community card, and you will be joining a worldwide group of us cherry people.
Cherry people, yes, join up. I gotta say, I learned so much. I think I'm a know-it-all. I think I know so much, and I learned so much that I was like, whoa, I can't believe that there's a whole nother side to food.
Well, that means a lot.
World.
Knowing you coming in, because I remember you were in the class and I kept saying, well, you know what I mean, Laura. And but like there were things that you didn't know. So it was kind of great to be able to make it interesting for someone like you. So, has been studying this.
And my notes stay on my desk. Like literally my notes stay on my desk. So
wow, that is awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, I pulled a card just while you were talking, like what was the message of today?
Oh, good.
I did a one card to see what card represented our talk today. And would it surprise you? Life force.
Oh, ginseng. I love it. Life force.
I know. And I think that's what we did, was really kind of rooted, really, like we're really rooted in this, but I think this was very much talking about how to honor our life force, get it back. Yes. What can you do? Like traveling reinvigorated my life force, like to just kind of experience other cultures. And, so I always say, don't put off what you can do, like just do it. And, and mostly do it with how you decide to feed your body temple.
Absolutely. I love the life force. That's exactly it. Food, spirituality, just go do it all. Just bring it all back to us and become our best.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Please pass the show on. It's once we hit end here, it'll be live and available, not live, but it'll be available for the replay both on Facebook, YouTube, our Food Healing Oracle Deck YouTube channel, as well as my Lainey Savante Wolkin LinkedIn, and wherever this gets passed around. But thank you for being here, everyone. And Laura, thank you. This was so great. I'm glad you were the guest on my first jet lag show back.
Go rest. Go rest.
I'm going to.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.